Hello and welcome to another ball review from yours truly. My name is Brad Miller and today we are going to be talking about the brand new release from Storm Products, the IQ Emerald. Okay, so the IQ Emerald, what exactly is it? It's the 6th edition of the IQ series. The first IQ was made 7 years ago in 2012, and it's still on the market today for you to be able to purchase. And the reason these balls have been so popular is because I think if you ask around, the word that comes to mind is control. They don't like to snap off the pattern too hard. They don't like to hook crazy, and they also don't like to skid too far down the lane either. There's a very good element of control and comfort when you actually throw the bowling ball. And this is the 6th version, so the first one was the original IQ, then you have the Pearl, then you have the Solid, then you have the Fusion, then the 30, and then now the Emerald. And before we really get into it, I do want to give a shout out to Storm Products for being able to make a very visually appealing bowling ball. It is an art, and it just shows that they really take their time when they design bowling balls. Because when you are in the business of selling bowling balls, you need to sell them. You know, they need to be visually appealing, and it just shows that not only are they great at making a very good bowling ball performance-wise, they're also very good at making a very good visually appealing. When you just take this ball out of the box, you just see this very pretty emerald green, and it just looks really nice. And I really appreciate a company that takes their time and pays attention to that kind of detail. So great job, Storm. So what exactly is this ball? As you can see, it says that it has the R2S cover stock. If you look at it here at the bottom, it says that it has a lower RG, but it also has a lower differential. And now that's pretty strange because most low RG balls are coupled with a higher differential, and basically in normal terms, the RG means that when the ball wants to start hooking, and the differential means how much flare it has, those rings that go around the ball. And normally when you see a low RG ball, it's those really strong, asymmetric, really expensive balls that are supposed to just like hook out of the building. And instead they took an early hooking core and made it a lower differential. And you don't see a whole lot of balls like this, and that's why I think the word control comes to mind. And you can read it on the Storm website. It just doesn't want to overhook or do a whole lot of like crazy nonsense. And the R2S is the exact same core as the High Road, as you can see right here, except the High Road just has a little bit more flare potential in the differential. And here's a comparison between the IQ Emerald and the original IQ. And one thing I want you to look at right here is the 1500 grit polished compared to the 4000 grit Abralon. And what I like to do with polished balls, and I guess this doesn't go for everybody because a lot of you out there are bowling league on patterns that have a lot of hook. And if you are one of those people, then you may not have to do this. But what I like to do when I get a polished bowling ball is to take like a 2000 pad and just kind of like gently rub the ball a little bit just to get a little bit of grit on it. Because when a freshly polished bowling ball doesn't really respond very well to oil. So if you're someone who bowls in a little bit of oil, this ball can still be thrown very easily. But just the fresh polished surface may not respond to the oil very well. So if you bowl in a lot of friction, it's okay. You may not have to do anything to it. If you bowl in some oil, maybe just take a 2000 Abralon pad and just gently rub it just to get a little surface on it. Now this cover is a pearlized cover, obviously the same as the High Road, which means it is designed to go a little bit farther down lane before hooking. And the beautiful thing is the core is actually meant to hook a little bit earlier, which gives it a very nice smooth blend. And there's a very fine line when making pearlized bowling balls, because if you make them too clean, then they stop becoming responsive in oil. And I think Storm's done a really good job with coupling this core with a cleaner cover and potentially filling a gap in their arsenal. The first ball that I'm going to show you is a Crux Prime. That's my big and strong and heavy one. The Hypercell Fuse is another favorite of mine. It's a little cleaner shell with still a pretty big core. Phase 2 is my favorite ball of all time. It's what I build my arsenal around. It's definitely my go-to. The Supersonic's actually a little bit stronger than the Phase 2. I have it at least, but I really like it. The Idle Pearl is the next ball, and then to round out my 6-ball arsenal is the High Road. And then to be able to throw that IQ Emerald in there, We're going to put that between the idle and the high road. That's about where it fits. And then that brand new ball coming out as well, that Astrophysics, is probably going to fit somewhere in between the prime and the Hypercell Fuse. And if you got more room in the car, you can throw an idle and an IQ in there as well. That's probably about the 10-ball arsenal that I'm going to throw. But the IQ Emerald does fit somewhere between maybe an idle Pearl and an high road, both of those being pearlized bowling balls. I have my Crux Prime drilled pin up with no hole. I'm trial and erroring no holes for the time being, but as you can see, the motion down lane is pretty slow. It's not very violent. The Crux Prime doesn't necessarily like to jerk off the spot. I personally like those kinds of bowling balls because they allow me to feel comfortable that it's not going to over jerk, and I can actually stay a little bit more aggressive with it and it not feel like it's just going to be uncontrollable in the back end. Here is the Astrophysics. Check out this ball. Look how much this thing hooks. Like it just sees the spot and then just jerks left. And that's a pretty cool thing. I do like having that in my bag. And that ball review is going to be coming out next week, so make sure you pay attention to it. Here is a Hypercell Fused. Like I said, one of my favorites that I enjoy having in the bag. It's still got that like stronger ball feel. Look how kind of slower it is down lane. I really like that. It's got a little bit cleaner cover, but still a little slow down lane. Okay, here we go. IQ Emerald. Let's see how this thing rolls in comparison. Yeah, I mean, as you can see right there, the thing is it is a pearlized ball. It is meant to go down the lane, but it still reads the mid lane really well, which is something that maybe the high road may have a hard time doing. If you're a higher rev guy, maybe you can get the high road to read the mid lane really well. But for lower rev guys, maybe the high road's just a little bit too clean. And when the high road's a little bit too clean, maybe this ball is like the perfect ball. I know I'm really excited about it, just to fit that little gap that I have between like an idle Pearl or a high road. Because it still definitely reads the mid lane, and then obviously that controllable back end shape that Storm promises with this core. Here's an original IQ Tour. It's gonna be pretty similar to this IQ Emerald. A little different shell, a little stronger. So you can see it kind of goes through the pins a little bit more. And here is a high road, and I want you to pay attention to this because it kind of explains where it is. See how much farther that ball went down the lane? And that's kind of that high road. It's meant to be like that. It doesn't make it a bad ball. It just means that ball goes a little bit longer down the lane. And a lot of higher rev guys like that, like a guy like Jason Belmonte. But for the guys that can't get it to read the mid lane like that, this ball fits that gap perfectly. And here is my favorite ball of all time, the Phase 2. And granted, on this shot, I didn't make it look very good, but you can kind of see how like a little bit slower it was. I'm actually really happy with how those shots turned out because the three stronger balls that I threw, the Crux Prime, the Hypercell Fused, and the Phase 2, all just seemed a little lazy down lane. And then this ball was the ball that actually just saved a little bit more energy and then went through the pins correctly in my mind. And then you got to see a shot of the high road that went a little bit too far down lane. And that's kind of the exact gap that this thing fits in. It's like when the bigger and stronger balls are rolling too much and not preserving enough energy. And then the weaker balls, maybe like the Hustle Inc. and the High Road, are going a little bit too far down lane. This ball is just, it fits the gap perfectly. I think Storm did a great job in creating this. I think it's exactly what they wanted. I'm really happy to have this ball in my arsenal. And actually this past weekend I just got back from a tournament called the Proprietors Cup. And the Proprietors Cup is known to have a mound of oil in the middle of the lane. And toward the end of the tournament, when they start to get cliffed, where that mound starts to build up, this ball actually still read through that oil very well. And like I said, it's a tricky thing. When you make pearlized, cleaner balls, it's very easy to make them not be responsive in oil. And like I said, Storm is a very good bowling ball company. They know exactly what they're doing. They pay attention to detail. And I think this is personally a home run for Storm. And I'm an honest guy. I'm gonna give you the nitty gritty if I don't like a ball and I do like a ball. But this ball's for real going in my bag. I really Really like the shape it makes. It's an earlier, somewhat earlier rolling ball that preserves energy, and it just fits the gap between strong and weak balls really well. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. If there's anything you guys want to know about bowling balls, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to research it if I don't know it already, and then make sure I put that type of information in the next video. In the meantime, Kyle and I have put together a little training video that we wanted to give you guys for free. I'm going to put the link in the description below. It's going to be just under the name Free Gift. It's a drill that we like to use that helps us stay sharp. So hopefully you guys enjoy that video as well. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys later.